Hello everyone. Good morning. It's good to see you all. Welcome to the today's online class. And today we are going to discuss a topic called memory organization. Memory organization. I'm sure everybody is using their memories. Okay. So where is the memory? It is present in your brain. So a memory is a part of your brain, right? Now, how many different types of memories are there? There are two types of memories. One is temporary memory and permanent memory. So temporary memory, where we are using to store the data temporarily, or where we are going to store some topics or some data for your daily life to store them in, to remember them in temporary. After that, you will just remove them from your memory. And what about the permanent memory? So you will store them in permanently. So till your life ends, you will remember those things. That is data where you are storing inside your permanent memory. The computers are evolved based upon the how the human being is like. Okay, the same memories concept is taken back to your computers. Now we are talking about microcontrollers. So what is meant by microcontroller? So a microcontroller is device which consists of a processor and it is having internal memories. Okay, that is your RAM and ROM. Apart from internal memories, we are having some other peripherals like timers, IO ports and serial ports, etc. Right? Now we are talking about memories. Now how many memories are there in your microcontroller? Different types of memories. Two memories, one is RAM and ROM. Now suppose if I want to store more data or more programs in my microcontroller, is the internal memory sufficient? Obviously no. So that's why we can also connect external memories. Can I connect external RAM? Yes, I can connect. Can I connect external ROM? Yes, we can connect the external ROM. That means I'm having a option to connect external RAM and external ROM to your microcontroller, right? Now we are discussing about external RAM and external ROM and internal RAM and internal ROM. Okay, that means your microcontroller is operating with four different memories right now. Okay, now take an example. Before that, can you able to see this picture? The childs will see the pictures. There are two rabbits, but the adults will see the one Newman and Harvard. There is a name board written on it, okay, in front of that rabbits. But the legends, you guys will see that there is a plates. There are two plates and there is one plate where they are having carrot and cabbage. Still if you are you can able to see that picture, that that plate, each and every plate has a name written on it. So the carrot, the right side, if you take the Harvard, there is a data written on it, one plate which is having carrot, and the another plate consists of a cabbage and the name of that plate is written as code. And if you can able to still observe, and code and data is written on the another part of your one human plate. Okay, code and data. Now still you can see there are in Harvard they are using two forks, right, to eat the carrot and cabbage. The rabbits will eat that carrot and cabbage very much, right? They will like that food. Now if they want to eat that one, they will use the forks. Okay, knife and fork. Now similarly, we are having two different memories, right? RAM and ROM. If you observe in the internal part of your microcontroller, the RAM and ROM are present separate memory locations. That means the RAM is separate and ROM is separate. That means they are independent to each other, right? And if you observe 8085 microprocessor and 8086 microprocessor, we have discussed on the memories. There RAM and ROM are both are present in single address space. That means that both are dependent, right? In the same the concept, whenever we are having the two memories separately, and we are having single memory, I mean single address space, that is your RAM and ROM are present in single address space. These two different types of concepts, we are calling it as memory architectures. That means we are having a RAM and ROM, and that RAM and ROM are present separately, and in one part RAM and ROM are present in single address space. So this is called two different architectures of your memory architectures. Now tell me which memory architecture is sufficient. So that's why I have taken this example here, this rabbits. Now we are having a data. So data consists of your carrot and the code consists of your cabbage in the Harvard architecture. And here the code and data are mixed together in the von Neumann architecture. Now tell me which memory architecture is efficient, or which memory architecture will work fast. Okay, if you are having any answers from you. The Harvard architecture is efficient. That means it will work fast. Why? Because the RAM and ROM are present separate memory locations, and we are using that forks, right? That forks are nothing but address bus and data bus. If you are having separate address bus for the RAM and ROM and separate data bus for the RAM and ROM, that means we can access the data present in the RAM and ROM parallelly. That's why we are having two different memories independently. So when we are having two different independent memories, I can able to get the data from both the memories at a time. But whereas in von Neumann architecture, can I get that? No. I'm using only single address bus, single data bus. That means I can get either the data from the RAM or ROM at a time. Here in Harvard architecture, I can get the data from both the memories at the same time. That is the advantage of your Harvard architecture. But due to the space constraints, so whenever if you're placing two memories different spaces, that means it can consume more space in your circuit, in your IC. Okay, apart from that, it is not having any limitations. So that is a advantage of the Harvard architecture. Now you tell me which architecture we are following in the 8051 microcontroller. I'm sure you have figured out if you are having sharp eyes. I know you are having the sharp eyes whenever I'm invigilating during the examination. You can able to see from this corner to this corner. That means you are having sharp eyes. Now we already figured out that we are following the Harvard architecture. Why? Because we are having two different independent memories separate. That is your RAM and ROM in your internal microcontroller, right? Now, where we are using the microcontrollers, so wherever we want to perform some simple task, repetitive task. Take an example, your home having washing machine, refrigerator, AC, microwave oven, TV remote, gaming console, TV, many things, right? Now, I am talking to one memory right now. Now you need to tell me which memory I am talking to. Whenever if you take the microwave oven, so this is a good example which I think we have already discussed this microcontroller microwave oven example during the introduction class of your microcontrollers. And if you take the microwave oven, so you will open the door of the microwave oven, put the food item and close the door and set the timer, how much temperature you want to cook that food, I mean heat the food, and you will set the timer and you will hit the start button. Okay, now in display it will show you the temperature, I mean current temperature and timer readings, etc. Okay, after removing the power supply, okay, will that microcontroller program will be gone? No, it will be stored permanently. It will be stored permanently. That means in which memory we are storing that program? ROM, read only memory. Okay, so we are going to see the read only memory right now. That's why the name called as read only memory, because we cannot able to write the memory locations inside your this memory, especially this one. That's why we are storing only programs here. For the programs we can only just read. Okay, now you tell me how many different memories are there in your 8051 microcontroller, RAM and ROM. But whereas coming to the read only memory, how many different memories are there? Two different memories. I mean, two different location of the memories. The same read-only memory. What are those two different locations? Is we are having internal ROM. Another one is we are having external ROM. Okay, I'm sure you know that the internal ROM size is 4 KB, 4 kilobytes. Okay, that means it is having the starting address location of 000 and the ending address is 0FFF. I'm sure you have calculated this address in the last class itself. When you are discussing the architecture, I told you how to calculate the address of your ROM and RAM. Okay, triple F means 12 ones. That means we are having 4 KB. 2 power 12 is 4 KB. Okay, now we are having internal ROM and we are having external ROM also, right? So that means I'm having three options. Either I can use internal ROM alone, or I can use internal ROM plus external ROM, or I can use only external ROM by discarding the internal ROM. These are the three options I am having. Now you tell me how to access only read-only memory of the internal memory. That means your read-only memory, internal memory, I want to read. Only read-only memory, internal read-only memory. How to access? There is a signal called EA bar. enable external access. Okay, I'm sure you figured out whenever we are discussing the pin diagram, we have discussed this pin EA bar. So EA bar is equals to 1. That means I am accessing the internal memory. Okay, and still with the help of the same signal, I can also access internal memory plus external memory. Okay, if I want to read the external memory, I need to make EA bar is equals to 0. Look at the third option. If I want to read the data from the external memory, I want to read the data from the external memory, I mean read only memory. I need to select that memory, external ROM. Okay, with the help of one signal called EA bar is equals to 0. So enable external access. So whenever the EA bar is equals to 1, that means I am using only internal memory. Okay, now you got confused, sir, how to read the data from the second option. That means I'm using the internal memory as well as external memory in the second option, how to read the data. Now if you pay attention during the pin diagram or last architecture, we are using some two control signals for reading and writing the data for the external RAM. What are those external signals? Write bar and read bar for the external RAM. But there is one particular signal we are using to read the data from the external ROM. What is that signal? PSEN bar, processor status enable. So this is the signal which we are going to use to read the data from the external ROM. Now what is the need of EA bar? EA bar is used to select the external ROM. But what is the need of PSEN bar? To read the data from the external ROM. Okay. Now I'm sure you have understood that point. Now that means whenever the EA bar is equals to 1 and PSEN bar is equals to 0, that means I can access both internal ROM and external ROM. But there is a catch. When we are using the internal ROM, that means we can access up to 0FFF location. Up to that location, I am using the internal ROM. So if you want to use the external ROM, from which address location I am using? From 1000 memory location, because the internal ROM has the same addresses of the external ROM, so that I am not using that remaining addresses. Okay. Now look at the first option. Now you tell me what will be the value of the PSEN bar in the first option. I am using the external ROM. No, that means PSEN bar should be 1. Right? Whenever the EA bar is equals to 1, PSEN bar is equals to 1, I am using the only internal ROM. Whenever if the EA bar is equals to 1 and PSEN bar is equals to 0, that means I am using internal ROM as well as external ROM. And coming to the third option, whenever the EA bar is equals to 0 and PSEN bar is equals to 0, I am using the only external ROM by discarding the internal ROM. Okay. Now you have understood what is mean by read-only memory and why we are using and how we are using in the 8051 microcontroller. Okay. Now coming to the next memory is your RAM. So RAM is nothing but your temporary memory, and also the temporary memory we can access randomly. So what is mean by randomly? That means I can able to read or write the locations at any address location. Okay. Now similarly, just like your ROM, we are also having internal ROM, internal RAM and external RAM. Now you tell me how many options we need to get. Again the same 3 options. I can also use internal RAM alone, or I can use. So actually this is an internal RAM. I'm sorry for that. This is an internal ROM. In PPT I mistaken. So we are having internal RAM. That means that is the first option I can use, and the second option I will use internal RAM as well as external RAM. We are having another option, and the third option is only external RAM. So there is a point to note there is a point to be noted here. I can use only internal RAM. Yes, I can use internal RAM plus external RAM. Yes, but the third option, if you look at the third option, we cannot use only external RAM. That means if you want to use external RAM, you should use the internal RAM. So that means we are having only 2 options. Now you tell me what is the starting address location of your internal RAM and ending address location of your internal RAM? 002 7F. Why 7F? Because we are having 128 locations, 128 bytes. The 128 bytes requires 7 bits, 2 power 7, 128. That's why the address location is 7F. Now similarly, the internal RAM has 00 and 7F. And the external RAM is 0002 FFFF. Why external RAM is having that much? Because external RAM size is 64 KB. To access the 64 KB, we are using 16-bit address bus. So 16-bit address bus means we are representing the hexadecimal in 4 numbers. 4 hexadecimal numbers. That is your 00002 FFFF. Okay. Where is the third option? Can I use only external RAM? No, I cannot use only external RAM here. That means we can use internal RAM alone, or I can use internal RAM plus external RAM. We cannot use the external RAM, unlike your external ROM. Okay. Now we need to concentrate more about internal ROM. So external RAM is nothing but just like a memory. We can also read and write, but there is a small, there are big concepts in your internal ROM. Sorry, internal RAM, which we are going to see the internal RAM structure. By looking at this slide, you will just assume that, sir, why we are making our life difficult by putting these difficult slides. Okay, and I will shut down my laptop or system. I will run away. Okay, so remember this point. Whenever, why we are fearing while looking at this slide, because this diagram is so difficult to draw in the exam, or it is very difficult to by heart. So why do you are by hearting? Because whenever, if you want to, if they ask the question, I need to write the answer in your examination, sir, you are answering me like that. But you should not fear, because you are fearless, you are legends, you are fearless, right? Now whenever, if you are understanding any topic, okay, whenever, if you want to learn any topic, you need to understand the way it is built. Okay. So I will make this diagram much easier for you by taking that topics into much deeper manner. Let's start. Now take an example. We are having internal RAM. So what is the size of the internal RAM? 128 bytes. Now what is the starting address location of the internal RAM? 00, and the ending address location is 07F. I'm sure you have know up to this, right? Now this internal RAM is divided into 3 different sections. Okay, 3 different sections. The first section occupies 32 bytes. Out of 128 bytes, the first section occupies 32 bytes. The next section occupies 16 bytes, and the next section occupies 80 bytes. Now you tell me, you understood up to this much? Yes. Now come to the first 32 bytes. So if you pay attention to my 8051 microcontroller features, we are having general purpose registers, right? How many general purpose registers are there in your 8051 microcontroller? Total 32 general purpose registers. That 32 registers are occupied the first 32 bytes of your RAM. Now you are having the 32-bit registers, I mean 32 registers. The 32 registers are divided into banks, that is called register banks. The name of that register banks is bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3. Now you tell me, each and every bank consists of how many registers? So if the 32 is divided by 4, that means each and every bank should have 8 registers. Sir, why I'm talking about the registers? I am discussing about the memory. You tell me, what is meant by memory? Memory is nothing but a byte oriented structure. That means it can store in the data in the form of only bytes. What is meant by bytes? 8 bits. So if you, how to store 1 bit, we are using flip flops. If you combine 8 flip flops, you will get 1 byte, right? And also if you combine the 8 flip flops, we are calling that 1 byte as 8-bit register. If you combine 16 bits, where there is called as 16-bit registers. That means if you arrange the registers one by one, it becomes a memory. What is meant by register? It is a temporary memory, temporary storage. So that means the memory and registers are vice versa. That means we are naming that registers according to our requirement. That means we are either memory also same or register is also same, right? Now you tell me, in bank 0 or bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, how many registers it consists of? That means how many memory locations it consists of? 8. Okay, always we will start with 0. So the registers will start with 0, R0, R1, R2 up to R7. Now if you want to access the memory location, you require its address. That means each and every register consists of address, right? Now you tell me, what is the starting address of your R0, R0? 00, because the starting address of your RAM is also 00. That's why it is a 00. Now next address will be 01, 02, 03, 04 and up to 07. Now you understood what is the starting address of your bank 0 and ending address of your bank 0. So 00 to 07H. Okay, we are representing the hexadecimal number. Now you tell me, the next bank address will start with which value? 08H. That means again the bank 1 consists of how many memory locations? R0 to R7. Okay, and the next address location of your I mean the bank 1 is nothing but your 08, 09, and after 09 you will start with 0A, not 10. Why? Because in hexadecimal after 9 we will get A. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F. After F you will get 10. So if you take 99, so after 99 you will get 100. Again it will start with 0 with carry 1. Like that, here after F you will start with 10. Okay, now the bank 1 consists of again 8 registers, that is R0 to R7, and the starting address is 08, 09, and up to 0F. That is your ending address. Now again tell me the similar, in similar manner you can tell me the how many registers in bank 2. Again 8. The starting address will start with 20. Why? Because after 0F you will get, sorry, 10. After that, after 0F you will get 10, 11, 12, and up to 17. So that means the 10 is the starting address of your bank 2 and 17 is the ending address of your bank 2. The next will start with 18. So 18 to 1F. So this is how we will make the starting address and ending address of your each and every bank. Now you tell me, how did you understood this much? Yes, it's very easy. In these banks, among these 4 banks, by default the bank 0 is the by default bank. That means whenever if you want to access any bank, by default the bank 0 will come. That means we cannot use the bank 0 for any other purpose. That means bank 0 is permanent, that is bank 0 is fixed. The processor cannot able to change the contents of the bank 0 unexpectedly. Okay, now this is about the first 32 bytes of your RAM. Now coming to the next 16 bytes, 16 locations. So that 16 locations we are calling it as bit addressable area. What is mean by bit addressable area? That means if you take 1 byte, it has 8 bits. So if you want to access each and every bit, okay, that part of this memory we can able to access the each and every bit of your memory location. Now why we need to have the bit addressable area? Suppose if there is any button is there, now whenever the button is pressed you will get 1. The button is not pressed, you will get the 0. Okay, now if you want to store the button value, so button value will give you only 1 or 0. Now you tell me how to store 1 or 0 inside your memory. Will you use 8 bits, that means 1 byte to store 1 bit? I'm having only 1 or 0 to store the information. Will you use the total 8 bits of memory to store that 1 or 0? No. Why I need to waste the remaining 7 bits if I want to store either 1 or 0 only? Okay, that's why the this concept came into the picture, that is your bit addressable area. Now you tell me how many bytes it consists of. 16 bytes. That means each and every byte consists of how many bits? 8 bits. That means total how many individual bits I can access? 16 into 8, that is total 128 bits I can access. Now if you want to access again the same bit, I need its address. So that's why they have given for each and every bit as address. The first bit address is 00 and 01 and 02 up to, if you are having 128, it is just like your internal RAM memory addresses. So 00 is the starting address location and the maximum is 7F, because it is having 128 different bits in this memory location. Okay, now you will tell me, you will ask me the question, sir, can I access 8 bits at a time? That means I can access 8 bits at a time in this memory location. Yes, that means this area also can access byte addressable. That means I can access 8 bits at a time, or I can access individual bit at a time. Now if you want to access the 1 byte at a time, you require its address. For byte address, we are having the starting address is 20H, 21 up to 2F. Okay, because it is the after bank 3, the starting address will be 20, which is having nothing but the byte address. If you want to access the individual bits, we can access with the help of 00, 01 and 02 and up to 7F. Okay, now you got confused, sir. Whenever you are talking about address, can I use the addresses in the instructions? Yes. Take an example here. There is an instruction called move a comma r0. So what does instruction mean? There is a data present in the r0 and that is copied to our a register. Okay, now instead of using the register r0, I will use its address. What is the r0 address? 00H. I'm sure you just now we have discussed this one, right? The register r0 consists of its address 00H for r1, 01H up to 07H for the r7. right? So this is how we can access. Now, if I write like this, move a comma 00h, still we are transferring the data from R0 to A, because our 00h is nothing but the address location of your R0. This is called direct addressing. So if you know the addressing modes, this is called direct addressing. We are giving directly address in this instruction. Now somebody will confuse, sir, I am moving the 00 to A. No, there is a separate instruction if you want to load the 00 into your A register. MVI, move immediate data A comma hash 00h. Whenever if I put hash, that means it is data. So if there is no hash, that means it is address, right? Now you got cleared, right? So whenever if you ask 00, that is nothing but your R0. The same 00 address is also having bit addresses. So if you look at this slide consists of a bit addressable area. It is also having 00 address location, right? Now if I use that 00 address location, will that instruction will take from this area or it will take from the R0? You tell me. It will take only the R0. Well, that means only register. It will not take the bit addressable area. Why? Because there are separate instructions to access the bit addressable area. That instruction are called set bit and clear. Set bit means if you want to set the information in the particular bit, that means there is a in first bit, that is 00 bit. If you want to set to value 1, we can use the instruction called set b00h. That means in first location of your bit addressable area, that is your 00h, will be set to value 1. Okay. Now if you want to store 0, that means you need to clear that bit. So how to clear that bit? We can use the clear instruction, CLR 07h. That means it can access only bit addressable area itself. That means in the left side, which we are seeing is called byte addressable instructions. On the right side, we can also see as bit addressable instructions. There is a much difference, but the addresses are same. Okay, the addresses will be calculated based upon the type of instructions you are using, whether we are using byte instructions, whether we are using bit instructions. Okay, and that is about your bit addressable area. And we are having total 128 bits. So 128 bits has each and every has addresses, that is your 002 up to 7F. And if you want to access access that total 128, I mean bytes, 8 bits at a time for the bit addressable area, for that I am having again address called 20H, 21H up to 2FH. The next part of your memory is called remaining 8 bytes is called general purpose RAM, or also known as scratch pad RAM. So in bit addressable area, you are storing some individual information. In registers, you will store some temporary data. In RAM also, you can store some temporary data if you don't want to store some in registers or bit addressable area. Okay, that means you can use from you can use the general purpose data inside this RAM. So this is about your internal structure of your RAM. Okay, the next one is stack memory. The last memory which we are going to see is stack memory. So till now we have discussed only RAM and ROM. I have not said this concept stack memory anytime, anywhere right now till this class. Now, why it is a stack memory? Stack memory is a part of the memory which is present inside your internal RAM. So in this slide, there is no mentioning of the stack memory. That means the stack memory can occupy any memory location except bank 0. Why bank 0? I tell you, there is by default, the bank 0 is the default bank. The processor cannot able to change. We cannot also able to access directly. We cannot able to change the information in the bank 0 directly. Okay. Now stack memory. So except bank 0, the remaining locations can able to take occupied by the stack memory. That means we can able to create the stack among the different address locations. There is no starting address location fixed, and there is no ending address location fixed of your stack memory. So that is a stack memory. It is also a temporary memory. Now where we are, which principle it is following? Last in, first out. Okay, and if you want to access the stack memory, which register you need? Stack pointer. Okay, what is it mean by stack pointer? Stack pointer point towards the topmost memory location address of your stack. That means the stack pointer will store the address of your top of your memory location of the stack memory. Now, what will be the size of your stack pointer? So what is the internal RAM size? 128 bits. We are using how many bit addresses? 8 bit addresses. That means the stack memory also uses the 8 bit addresses. That means what will be the size of your stack pointer? 8 bit, right? Now upon reset, whenever if you are resetting your microcontroller, by default the stack memory will occupy, that means stack pointer will point towards the default memory location is 07H. This question is asked in the gate examination. Okay. So while resetting your microcontroller, the stack pointer will point towards the default address location is 07H. Okay. Now if you pay attention for before 1 minute, I told you the bank 0 is the default bank. We cannot change the location of that banks. But if you observe the locations 00, 01, 02 up to 07H, if you observe the last location 07H of this one, okay, this is nothing but your bank 0, right? But SP is pointing out the 07H. That means SP is trying to modify the 07H, but it's not. Why? Because if you understand how the stack memory is going to operate, we can also know why. We can also solve this confusion. So there is a push and pop, not is a pull, it is a pop actually. Push and pop operation. And push operation, what is my push? Whenever if you want to insert the data into the stack, we will use the push operation. Now you tell me, during the push operation, what will be the starting working of your stack memory? First of all, the stack pointer will be increment by 1, and later it can able to insert the data into the stack memory. Now suppose I want to insert the data 98 into the location 08H. Now on reset, what is a by default memory location pointed over the stack pointer? 07H. Now I told you that during the push operation, what the first operation it is doing? Increment the stack pointer by 1. After incrementing, what is the value you will get for the stack pointer? 08H. After getting the 08H, you can also insert the data of the 98. That means I am not modifying the 07 location. Suppose the 07 location consists of 32 bit data. I mean 32, there is a data 32 in the register R7. That is not modified because I am incrementing the data. I mean incrementing the stack pointer by 1, and later I am inserting the data 98H. Okay. Similarly, during the push operation, that means push operation, what I am doing is I will delete the data first and then decrement the stack pointer by 1. Understood now? Now what is the location of stack pointer is pointing out? 08H. Okay, after push operation is pointing out the 08H. So if you want to delete the data, what it will do? You first delete the data 98, and later decrement the stack pointer by 1. After decrementing, what is the location you are pointing out? 07H. Okay, during the stack pointer is in 07H, you cannot able to do the pull operation because by default the topmost memory location of your stack memory is 07H. Okay. So this is your memory organization. That means this is the end of this class. So if you're having any doubts, you can type in the chat box, unmute yourself, and you can ask the question. So this is one of the most important topic of your 8051 microcontroller. Okay. So if you look at this diagram and if you are feeling difficult, then it's very uneasy for you. Why you need to understand? You need to understand the topic first before learning any topic. Okay. So you segregate this diagram into 3 parts: 32 bytes, 16 bytes, and 80 bytes. And the first 32 bytes will occupy the register banks. That is your bank 0, bank 1, bank 2. Each and every bank consists of 8 registers. And the next 16 bytes occupy bit addressable area. The next 80 bytes occupy general purpose stack memory. I mean the general purpose RAM. Okay. And in internal RAM structure, you are having a stack memory. So except bank 0, it can also take any other memory locations. Okay, the stack can occupy any memory location of your internal RAM except bank 0. Why? Because the bank 0 is the default bank. We cannot able to directly access that bank for any other operations. So still, if you are having any questions, you can type in the chat box.